Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life, the podcast. You're listening to 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. Today, I want to talk to you on the topic you can't drift your way to the top of the mountain. So, in our 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna, I challenge the status quo, and my goal is to help unlock the power of self awareness, purpose, and transformation. So, again, we're talking today on the topic you can't drift your way up to the top of the mountain. Let that sink in. If you're drifting, if you're a leaf that's just blow with the wind, it is not going to blow you up the mountain. You're going to stay in the valley, right? So, which is basically what I want to expand your awareness on today. Because the truth is, success doesn't happen by accident. You don't just stumble into your dream life. You don't just wake up one day and you're at the top of the mountain. If anyone told you that, it is a lie. You have to climb there one intentional step at a time. This is a good spot to point out that if you find yourself in the valley of the mountain, remember you drove there. It's one of my favorite quotes that wherever you are in life, you drove there. If you're at the top of the mountain, you drove there or you climbed there. If you're in the valley, you drove there. So I just wanted to point out that it's nobody's fault where you are. You make conscious choices every day, even though you don't, maybe not aware that you're doing it. But your thoughts are a magnet. So you can think it, what you say, what you do, they're all taking you in a direction. So we don't want you to keep drifting. We want you to be intentional about your life. So here is the danger of drifting through life. Drifting is living without direction. It's waking up every day without a clear purpose, reacting instead of planning, hoping instead of building, right? Napoleon Hill, in his legendary book, Outwitting the Devil, says that drifting is the greatest threat to human potential. Yes, mediocrity. Don't do anything unless someone asks you to do it. Don't be intentional about your life. Just, hey, you know what? Go with that flow. Hey, it might sound good, but it's not terribly good. If you want to get somewhere, why did Napoleon Hill say that? Because drifting keeps us busy, but not productive, active, but not fulfilled. Because you might say, I'm working hard, but are you working with direction? If you don't have a goal setting system, if you don't practice intentional living, if your daily habits don't align with your long term vision, do you have a long term vision? Then you might be moving, but you're certainly not climbing. Success requires a mindset shift. It's what this show is about. Transform your mind. So here is the mindset shift I want to leave you with today. You need to live on purpose. Alice in Wonderland taught us in nursery school that if you don't know where you're going, then it doesn't matter where you end up. So that means developing a success mindset and a success plan. You got to know where you're going, else, how is the GPS going to take you there? You always have to put in your destination. So it means cultivating mental toughness, self discipline, and consistency. It means making decisions that align with your vision, even when they're uncomfortable. I was just watching a podcast with Dr. Carrie Bryant. She's now married to Dr. Jamal Bryant, but she was talking on this podcast when they were asking her what she's looking for in a husband. And you know what she said? She wants a husband with vision And that's one of the main things that she loves about Jamal Bryant. She says that he is a visionary. He has the whole year planned out, right? She said she wanted a husband with a plan for their life. Even if he was broke at the time, driving a rundown car, she wanted a husband that would take her for a drive in his rundown car and say, this is the land we're going to buy, baby. This is the house we're going to build, baby. This is how we're going to do it. Have a plan. It doesn't always work out. But guess what? If you don't have one, you're never going to get there. So at least you bet put things on paper. And it has to be on paper. She talked about having a man to drive her and show her. But if it's not on paper, it is not a vision. It is not a plan. You see, growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. You don't rise to the top by accident. You rise by design. So today, I want to ask you a question. Ask yourself, am I drifting or am I climbing? Are you seeing progress? If you're not seeing progress, then you're not climbing. You're just drifting, maybe even in the valley, right? So, climbing the mountain, what does it take? So let's talk about that. To reach the top of your personal mountain, whether that's launching a business, healing from trauma, losing weight, growing in faith, you need a plan. You need a routine. You need a vision. So here are 5 tools that I want to leave with you today. Number 1, you have to have clarity of purpose. Know where you're going and why it matters. When you set your personal GPS to go south, for example, the universe, with its organizing ability, gets to work. Let me give you an example of what I mean. When I first started this podcast, I would go on Chartable. They're not around anymore, but Chartable is where all the podcasts were listed by their genres. And I would go in there and I would see the podcasts that are listed in the top 200 because that's all they count to, right? And I started visualizing, seeing my podcast in the top 200. And I would go and I would visualize this because that's what a vision is. You visualize it, you feel it, you experience it, right? And years went by. I didn't check that thing. And then when I went on and checked it, I was at number 45. I was moving up before I even know it. And then when I checked it again several months later, I was at number 24. So then when I'm at number 24, hey, they said when you hit a goal, you got to move the goalpost. So I decided to say, hey, you know what? Well, I'm in the top 5. I never dreamed for the top. I don't think that I'm the best, right? I just be one of the best. So I visualized that I would be top 5, right? And then again, months went by, years went by, because I rarely check that thing. And then I checked it, and it says number 6. And I say, wow, I got all excited, started sending it to my family and friends and saying, I'm at number 6. I dreamed about number 5, but I'm at number 6, and I'm happy with that. And then my daughter said to me, did you see what it said? It said that you dropped 1 place. So you were at number 5. I say, yay! That is what the universe does for you. You set a goal, and the universe conspires to make it happen for you. So set your GPS to where you want to go and let the universe do its thing. That's number 1. Vision, clarity of purpose. Number 2 is your daily habits. Your success is hidden in your routine. Whatever the goal is, you had to hit that anvil every day. I got that from Pursuit of Purpose. When the guy talked about, just like the blacksmiths hit the anvil of the thing that we're making, the horseshoes, you got to pound it and pound it every day. He went and pounded his anvil every day, and that was 200 calls a day. Guess what? He went from broke, sleeping on the street, to a millionaire. So that's what you gotta do. If you want to be the top salesperson, you gotta make the calls every day. If you want health and longevity, you have to feed your body nutritious foods every day. You got to walk, you got to do resistance exercises, and take care of your mental health. Don't forget that part. This is one of the goals in life that you can't drift up the mountain. You must be intentional. I personally walk a 5K in the park every day, and the benefits are enormous. Whenever I go take tests, my telomere length is like 30 years long younger. My bone mass is amazing. Hey, my doctor is telling me, hey, you can't lose the weight with just walking. You've got to be able to pull more energy. But hey, walking is extending my life. If I want to lose the weight, then I got to go do some resistance training. But I know that it's something you got to do every day. And I do it 6 days a week, right? Because I am intentional about health span, not just lifespan, right? So, all right. So, muscles equals longevity. So, whether you're walking or you're weight training, once you're doing weight bearing exercises, you should be able to prolong your health span. All right. Number three, resilience. Expect storms, learn from them, don't quit. I just did a post on Instagram last week that showed that people who have ups and downs get to their destination faster than those who have a straight path. Challenges makes us stronger, so we are equipped to succeed. Number four, focus. Say no to distractions that don't serve your goals. I have perfected this one. Everybody wants me to be on their team, and I constantly have to say no. I have no time for new projects. I have to build my brand. I have my own stuff that I got to do, and I don't even have the amount of time to do it. So I'm not going to go on your project. Thank you for inviting me, but I got to say no, right? Number five, fate. Sometimes you only see the next step, and you have to trust God with the rest. I got this part here from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He says that when you're going up the staircase, you can only see the next step. You can never see the top of the staircase, but you keep going because you know the staircase is there. But for you, I also talk about when you're taking a trip at night. That's my favorite one. You're taking a trip on a dark road and you can't see nothing. You're only seeing where the headlight is showing you. You know the headlight is only showing you about 200 yards in front of you. But you have got to believe that the road is still there, that you're not going to drop off a cliff, right? So you keep going, seeing only 200 yards at a time. And that's what faith is like. You keep moving, you keep going forward, knowing that God has got it. God has got your back. Okay? So, real talk. The work is worth it. Now, listen, climbing is hard work. It takes sweat, strategy, and sacrifice. But when you finally get to the top of the mountain, you look back down at the valley that you came from. When you realize that you didn't drift, you decided, you disciplined, you grew, you know the climb was worth it. It is, you know, amazing feeling when you get there. But hey, you meet the top of the mountain and you find another mountain because you never stop. You got to keep climbing. You got to keep growing. And you have the strength to climb either higher. Get another mountain, go higher, right? So, in closing, I have a transformational challenge for you. So, here is your challenge for the week. Take 10 minutes and ask yourself, what mountain am I trying to climb? Am I drifting or am I climbing? What's one habit I need to start or stop to keep moving forward? Climbing up that mountain. Remember, you weren't created to drift. You were created to rise. So lace up your boots, set your eyes on the summit, and start climbing. So that's it for this week's episode of 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. If this message hit home, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Share it with someone that you know is stagnant or in a valley, don't want to hit that anvil every day, just being comfortable sitting on the couch, right? And don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and let's keep climbing together. Because I'm climbing, baby. I'm not happy where I am right now, but I'm doing the work and I'm climbing. One of these days, I'm gonna get to the top of that mountain. Hopefully you're there with me. All right. So thanks again for tuning in to this week's episode of 5 Minute Friday with Coach Myrna. Until next time, namaste.